Katie was out assessing the seats because he said that she could just sew them, and you can't just sew them. You gotta. Upholstery is a much more involved thing. Thanks for coming out, though.
Yeah.
You should probably look at the rat rod and get some paint ideas. This driver's power window doesn't work. When you press the up button or the up button, you can see the dash lights and everything dim, but the window doesn't ever actually go down. So it kind of makes it hard to go through a Tim Hortons and get a coffee. So we're gonna pull the door panel and just see what's going on. A lot of times these older cars, where the door opens here, the wire just open and closing a million times. Sometimes you'll break a wire. So we're just gonna do some troubleshooting here on the power window and see what's going on. This has power locks and power windows, and it's way more complicated than it needs to be. So you got screw there, 2 on the door handle down below, another one up front that you can't see, and you got that handle has a screw, and then 2 for the mirror houdini, and the power door lock is actually you pull the panel off and there's a plug-in bag. You don't got to take that off. Don't be dropping those 40-year-old screws.
Well, why do you think I caught it with my knee, Dad?
Boss is pulling in. Supervisor's in the house. Supervisor's in the house. Look at the deer in the headlights look on her. One more screw right in there. Okay, got all the screws out now. You just kind of pull and lift. And watch your cables and plugs and stuff. That's all you do to get a door panel off on a Vette. They're real simple.
What about that? How much on that one?
You gotta kind of slide it through the hole. Why are you using a wrench? We have power tools. What size is it? 8?
8.
Pulling off the access panel now.
Pull it.
Okay, so you got a bunch of 8mm bolts that hold that cover on, and then there's a big one there, which in this case was an 11. Then you can pull that cover off.
There's also fits another piece there.
And then there's your power window motor. So you can unplug that, and then you get to check your power. We got a test light set up. All we're going to do is unplug it. There's a tab on the top and on the bottom. Just unplug it. Okay, the motor itself is grounded to the door. So those are your 2 power leads. This one should be, yeah, that one should be up. And we suspect the up is working because the light's dim. Okay, up works. And down, we got nothing. Okay, so the wires look to be in decent shape. There's really nothing other than a mouse getting here and chewing it that could have damaged those wires. And everywhere I look, they look just fine. In here, everything's still in the boot. That's usually if the boot's cracked, then you got to worry about these wires. So it's possible that anywhere along that wire could be junk. But our next step is going to be this switch here on the console. Because we only need to get access to the switch. We don't need to pull that whole console apart. So when you pull off them side covers, you should be able to get in there and check your wire. That's all. It could, for all we know, the wire could be off, or maybe that switch is bad.
Well, I think there is one still.
I'm pretty sure there's one. The seat is in the way, though. Well, that's fine. We don't need to pull it all the way out. I can see the switches. But Katie's swinging the camera right now here. That'll do. Okay, so there's our plug. And off. We have power. So that's our power side. That's up or down, and that's the other one. So, holy fly. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Okay, so that's up that I have jumped. So I know that this is the down. Put that in there, it should have power going to this side of the wire. And I do. Okay folks, so we pretty much got to the point of the switch is the problem on this thing. The motor was really slow, so we're just going to check the motor directly And with a battery, this battery's only got like 11.5 volts in it. It's got a dead cell, so I'm not putting even full power here. But we're gonna go right to the motor just to make sure that the motor is okay. And I sprayed everything with WD-40 because this was bone dry and rusty in here, so that might have been part of the problem. And we're just gonna jump it around there.
I have the right one.
A nice rusty ground, so you know that would be a good test.
Ready?
Yeah, we're on. Okay, so we're gonna try down. We're not on. Oh, my ground is bad. The ground is bad. Imagine that rusty ground being bad. Who would have thunk? You good?
Yep.
Nope. Wiggle your ends. You good?
Nothing.
I'm gonna get nothing here. Oh, because I'm going to the damn plug instead of the motor.
You doing okay, Dad? You need some water?
I was kind of like, this entire thing, I didn't want to mention anything. Because I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm stupid or if he's touching the wrong thing.
No, you should have said something. Making me look like an idiot in my YouTube family.
You can cut it out.
Yeah, we're going to cut that out so I don't look like an idiot. I'll leave it in so I look like an idiot.
It's funny. It's comedic.
Everybody makes mistakes. The fact that you didn't say nothing.
Well, I didn't want to say it on YouTube when we're recording.
All right. Hold your thing on.
I'm holding it.
Down. I'd say there ain't nothing wrong with that motor. Yeah, we know that motor's good. So, motor's not the problem. Wires are not the problem. It is the switch. So we'll track down the switch. We're going to lubricate up the regulator on the other side. Some WD-40 because that was part of the problem here. It was really dry and rusty. We're going to do the other side. Pick up a couple of new switches and get that done. So it'll be a few days till we get some switches in. But it'll be that day just like that. Okay, well, it's not the next day. It's like 3 days later. Okay, car's not even running. Still tight at the top, but when it's running, a little bit extra power from the alternator, it works perfectly. So just a little lubrication, that was the key. That window was like creeping. We thought both motors were gone. Well, turns out it was just needed lubrication. Okay, so once you got that screw out, you can see that carpet sort of drops down a bit. You don't need to take it all the way out for this job. Right here and back here are two bolts. There's two on the other side that are identical. So we're just going to pull out those self-tapper now. That's all there is to that. Okay, so we got our 4 little bolts taken out. With that, you have enough lift now you can get at the switch. You can unbolt a couple more up front, unscrew your gear shift knob and pull the whole thing off. There's a lot more wires and things under here you got to deal with. For what we're doing, this is more than ample. There's your plug. Okay, see just a little 8mm underneath here. Tiny little thing. And another one at the back. We're bench testing this. I got it set to, I don't know, what is that, 20K resistance, doesn't really matter. You can set it to anything for this. The power is usually this one. Just happens to be I have it hooked up to ground. I could go the other way, it doesn't make a difference. Alright, this is your up pin. So yeah, I have the switch upside down technically. If you go up on the switch, you can see resistance goes to nil. It means we have continuity between these two pins when I do the switch. That is my down pin. I know the switch is upside down, but nothing. We get nothing. Not even when I jam it or wiggle it. So we know our down pin is the problem. Something within the switch is kaput. Well, I would like to pull this pin apart and see if I can fix it. So on the sides, there's little tabs that allow you to pull the guts out. Nervous working on 40-year-old metal. You know, it wants to break. Okay, so we got our little tabs all bent out of the way. This top one's sort of stripped off more than anything. And I don't want to bust it, but these switches are different than what you're going to see in things nowadays. There we go. Okay, so that's the inside of your switch. And you can see all it is like a breaker point almost. Inside the switch is a little plastic rocker, and all it does is it pushes down this, which makes contact. And if you look in there, I don't know how well you can see, but those are pretty corroded out. But it's such a simple mechanical switch, it's just a physical contact. Boop, that's it. So I'm going to try and clean these up. So all I did was a little tiny piece of sandpaper, just some junk. And I just went in here and cleaned both ends gently. As well, you can see this pin here is not in the greatest of shape. Although that is the power pin, but that's probably not what you want to put back in. Okay, so in the switch itself, I wanted to show you that plastic rocker. You can see, just a simple thing. There's a pin, steel pin that goes across, and it just moves back and forth and pushes down the edges that you want. The spring that you get in your switch is actually these here, right here. There's no other springs. It's simple, very simple setup. Okay, so we're just gonna clip one end onto where the power would go. And what I have to do here is just push in like that and test it. Okay, so that side's got continuity now. This is the side that wasn't giving us continuity before. What do you know? Just cleaning up a mechanical switch, and we fixed the switch for free. Now see if we can get it back in here without breaking it. Okay, so we got our other switch so we can match up the pin locations in case you screwed up and forgot which ones went where. In worst case, you could probably glue this if these tabs do break off. Okay, you can see all you got to do is bend them back in and it'll hold that. I'll do this without damaging anything. It is an antique after all. Can't do that with modern switches and all transistors and stuff. I like manual stuff that's worked for 43 years. Well, it worked up until last year, so 42 years. So let's put these back in and make sure it actually works in the car. Because, well, what's the sense of having it work here if it doesn't work there? Follow me. All right, so we got our switch fixed. Now it appears all of our problems lie within this plug. Still not going down. I'm holding the switch. I can definitely hear there's something going on here. And it's up and down. See, there's up now. So we have an issue here. One step closer to solving the mystery. The switch is working. The wire we know now for sure is good. And we'll clean these. Okay, just got the door panel all put back on. A couple of the older screw holes didn't work, so I had to go with a bigger screw. Now I'll be able to go through the Tim Hortons drive-thru, not have to open the door and get out like a sap. Okay, so as you can see, it's all working good now. I still got to put the switches back in the console and the little side panels and everything back together, but you probably don't need to watch me doing that boring stuff. To summarize here, we had an issue with the plug on the motor itself. Lubrication, big thing that sat a long time. And obviously, as you've seen, the switch was a problem. So we had multiple issues here, and that's not uncommon for an older car, but they were all alleviated for free. My favorite price. Hopefully, if you guys are having similar issues, I gave you an idea of where to look, where to start, and maybe even how to fix yours. If so, awesome. If not, sorry, help you out next time. Anyways, we'll get this console thrown all back together, get this thing buttoned up. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.